out looking for the Philosopher's Stone. We are watching Sean Reviews 22, so you should too. Please like and subscribe.
And yes, that is the actual voice actor of Edward Elric, Vic Mignogna. I couldn't think of anything else to do for this opening skit, so I decided to show that off. So, yeah.
I see it, and now it's all within my reach. Possibility. I see it now. It's always been inside of me. And now I feel so free. And there's possibility. And there's possibility. And there's possibility. And there's possibility. And there's possibility.
Hello everyone, and today we're taking a look at Fullmetal Alchemist, The Sacred Star of Milos. And man, oh man, I do not like this film at all. But still, let's talk about the plot of the movie. The plot is that this is canon to the Brotherhood timeline, and it takes place after Meisu's death, but before episode 20. And I hate it when anime movies do that because it just makes the timeline confusing. Like, where is it supposed to take place at? I know it's supposed to take place in between episodes 9 and 20, but where? Is it supposed to be like after they go to... Is it supposed to be after the brothers go to Dublith? Because after they go to Dublith, they encounter Ling Yao, Xiao Mei, and Edward meeting his father, Roy burning lust. Heck, the homunculi aren't even mentioned in this movie, which makes it even more confusing. But still, in this movie, the brothers go to the city of Table City, where they meet Julia, who wants to free her people from the slums in order to bring back civilization to their homeland. And that's basically the plot, and man, I still don't like this film. Let's talk about the things I do like. First off, the animation. Well, I'll say this right now, the characters are a bit off-model in some certain scenes, but I'll fully admit, sometimes the animation looks really impressive in my opinion. Another thing I like is the voice cast. The voice actors still do a good job as always. Vic Mignogna is still fantastic as Edward. The girl who plays Alphonse in Brotherhood still does a fantastic job. Even though characters like Riza, Roy, and Winry don't do much, their VAs still do good. And heck, even Alex Louis Armstrong is only in the movie for about 15 seconds, and I don't remember him saying a word, but still, it was nice seeing him in the film. And yeah, I also like the new VAs for the other characters. Like, Julia's voice actor is fine, and the voice actors for like Melvin and Fake Melvin are pretty good. And yeah, the voice cast in general is really good. Another thing I like about this movie is that there is this really well done scene in this film that I like. And it's a scene where Ed and Al are with Julia and they talk about the Sanguine Star. And they basically say that it's just another version of the Philosopher's Stone. And I like how in this scene, the way Ed and Al tell her about the Sanguine Star and how it requires human sacrifices in order to be made, I like her reaction to it. I like how she's like, all we've done was just for nothing. And I especially really like that because it draws parallels to when Ed and Alphonse found out that the Philosopher's Stone requires human sacrifices and how disgusted they were and didn't want to use it. But I do like how in this scene, there are people there who'd say, hey, if it means bringing our land back to the way it was, then I'm willing to be a sacrifice for the star's creation. I like that because in the anime, we saw two major events of where people were forced to be used against their wills in order to be turned into Philosopher's Stone. Like how in 03 we saw the people of Lior being turned into Scar's Philosopher's Stone, and how in Brotherhood we saw the people of Xerxes being turned into Philosopher's Stones to give Hohenheim and Father, immortal life. I like that. It draws a nice parallel to the anime where we see people actually willing to be sacrifices. And that's the stuff I liked in this movie, because other than that, this movie's a train wreck. First off, they introduced this character named Julia, and she is a bona fide Mary Sue. Seriously, I don't like using that term very much, but when I have to use it, Julia is a Mary Sue. She's that type of character that everyone loves, and they say, oh, Julia is such a fantastic human being, but we never see that. We never really show us her dedication to the cause. Like, we don't see her, stealing from the rich to give to the people like Robin Hood. We don't see that at all. They only just say it. They don't show it. And that just makes her not very interesting. And they try to set up a relationship between her and Alphonse, which, really, this movie was made after Brotherhood's final episode. And we know in Brotherhood, Alphonse gets with Mei Shang. So them teasing that Julia and Alphonse have feelings for each other is just pointless, really. And another thing, when she gets the Philosopher's Stone, I know it's called the Sanguine Star, but I'm just calling it the Philosopher's Stone. When she eats it, she just goes Super Saiyan. When has that ever happened in the anime? We have never seen, they tell us that, oh, the star corrupts you. When? In the anime, we see plenty of characters have Philosopher's Stone. I mean, heck, Kimberly kept eating the Philosopher's Stone he had just to make sure it wouldn't get taken away while he was in prison, but he wasn't going Super Saiyan and unleashing lightning bolts of energy from his hands. Seriously, did you guys even watch the show? And also, they introduced this new character who is just discount Yoki from the anime. He looks like Yoki, he sounds like Yoki, and I can't even remember his name because he's just Yoki. And you want to know what his plan is to get the Sanguine Star? You want to know what he's going to do with the Sanguine Star? He wants the Sanguine Star to get rich. Boy, you have a stone that gives you yeah, what Palpatine said, it gives you unlimited power, and all you can think of is selling it off to get rich, when it can just as easily make you gold for free. I'm not even joking. Ugh. And also, he almost tries to kill Ed and Alphonse, but that doesn't work because his guards have Stormtrooper aim. I'm not even joking. And also, there's this character named Melvin who is Julia's brother. But guess what? It turns out that was the fake Melvin, and the real Melvin was alive all along. And there's a scene where fake Melvin makes up a story about how he tried to run away from the wolf chimeras. And it is such a bullcrap story. I'm amazed Ed and Alphonse weren't like, "Are you sure, bruh? Are you sure?" Because it's part of the story where in this fake story he says, "I put Julia behind a tree so that way the wolf chimeras won't find them." Really? You're telling me that wolf chimeras, things that can smell you from a mile away, couldn't smell a little girl behind a tree? I know it's fake and all, but why aren't the characters questioning this bullcrap story? And there's this scene where when it's revealed that, oh, fake Melvin wasn't the real Melvin. Melvin, the real Melvin, decides he wants to destroy the place in order to recreate it. He literally wants to melt the Sanguine Star to destroy the place, and then rebuild it with the power of truth. He wants to unlock the portal of truth in order to recreate the whole place. I'm sorry, but really? When I got to this point in the movie, I was like this.
That's not how the Force works.
No, it's not how it works. In order to access the gateway of truth, you need to make a human transmutation circle and give something up in order to gain from truth. Like, for example, they show this in the anime where Edward saves Al's soul by giving up his arm. And I know the Philosopher's Stone defies the law of equivalent exchange, but still, they don't say that in the movie that he's going to like give up the stone in order to destroy and recreate the whole thing. I'm so confused by this movie's existence. And also, there's this fight between him and Edward where I'm just like, what's going on? Because for some reason, Edward apparently went to the Dragon Ball School of Anime fight scenes where he's able to do leap-defying jumps of life and not break his legs while doing it. I'm sorry, but when has Edward ever been able to do that in the anime? This is canon, by the way. This is canon, so when has Edward ever made leap-defying jumps that would probably kill a normal human being? The only time I ever remember Edward doing something like that in either animes was in the opening 4 of FMA 2003 Rewrite, where he was fighting Lust and he jumped off of a mountain while fighting her. That's the only time. Other than that, Edward has never been able to do that. And also, some of the new characters they had are not very interesting. Like I said, Julia and her brother, not interesting. And they even had this character, Pedro, who Edward takes as a hostage at first to, get in to save Alphonse. But immediately after freeing the guy, he gets killed off, and he's all like, Pedro was a good man! How dare you kill him! You barely even knew the guy! You knew him for like 2 seconds! You only knew him because you took him hostage! Just, oh god, this movie. And yeah, the fight scenes aren't really that interesting. They're boring to look at, right, like I said. And man, this movie just comes off as complete waste of time. It doesn't add anything to Brotherhood it doesn't add anything. And it's just filler. I really would have liked to see if they did what Conqueror of Shambhala did, where in Conqueror of Shambhala, it was like a follow-up movie. Yeah, I would have liked a follow-up film to Brotherhood, where we see where the characters were doing after their big journey, after fighting Father. I know in the ending of Brotherhood they showed that, but remember how I said in my Brotherhood review that was one of my issues, that it just felt like a PowerPoint presentation? The ending was still good, I just wanted more of it. Yeah, that's what the movie for Brotherhood should have been. Not this filler side story that doesn't happen, that doesn't even matter. And the characters they just act like, oh, it never happened. But still, this movie is just not very good. But I'll fully admit, there is one thing that I also like about this movie, and that's at the end of the movie where it looks like, oh, Julia performed a human transmutation to get her brother back, and at first I'm like, no, that's not how it works, because they show plenty of times that you cannot bring someone back from the dead. Like in 2003, they showed us that whenever an alchemist tries to bring someone back, they create a homunculi, but in Brotherhood, they changed it so that way it fits into the manga. But in Brotherhood, yeah, they still show that you can't bring someone back from the dead. But here, they actually do, and it kind of works. You see, since Melvin dies for just like 2 seconds, and then Joy brings him back to life, he was only mostly dead. There's a difference between mostly dead and all dead. So I guess Monty Python logic worked here. So yeah, it doesn't come off as a Deus Ex Machina, and it actually works. It's sort of like how you have that patient who flatlined, but then you're like, clear! And you bring him back to life. Something like that. But overall, this movie was just not very good. I'm going to have to give this movie a 3 or 4 out of 10. It's just not good at all. But I would consider this to be the worst thing that happened to Fullmetal Alchemist. But unfortunately, there's one more thing we gotta talk about, and that's the live-action movie disaster on Netflix. I'm gonna say this right now, it's near the same level as terrible live-action remakes as the last Airbender movies. So yeah, see you all then. This movie gets a 3 or a 4 out of 10. It's kind of in the middle between that. So see you all later when we talk about the Fullmetal Alchemist live-action movie. See you all later, and bye.